Well, I would just like to see the city of Durham move forward with a lot of things. The first thing on my agenda I would like to see them do is to, like I say, some of these vacant buildings, big buildings that we have, you know, make them into shelters for the homeless, because Durham is growing with the homeless people and jobless.
And I remember a gentleman named Fireball, James White Sr., used to own half the South Side and everything. Now it's a bunch of realtors and things like that. You know, the demographics changed. You know, neighborhoods where there were only black faces, you can see a mix of a little bit of white faces, some Hispanic. The thing is, the buildings that they're putting up nowadays, the new condominiums, townhouses on Trinity Avenue, those off the co-ops on 147, the West End, always been black. I know ain't no black faces living in there. I know they can't afford it.
That's one of the problems that you see happening, if you will, with gentrification. We take the people by way of what's called eminent domain, displace them because you can't afford to live, or we're going to put you here, and we don't have any plans to help you stay where we want to build. So we're going to take you because you're not the element that we want to live in this neighborhood and put you into this box. And as we put you into this box, we can forget about you. As we forget about you, guess what's going to happen? I don't think about myself, so why should I think about my neighbor?
I don't know what the city thinks of Durham, but this street needs help. And we're crying for help in many ways, but there's no one available to help us. We need help. It's the conditions in which the neighborhood has went from all the way from the top to the bottom. There's not one thing good that I can name about the neighborhood since it has changed. There's still a lot of drugs, there's a lot of prostitution, there's a lot of people being taken for granted. They walk up and down the streets on Holloway Street, the street in which I live. Something needs to be done about this community. This community is going down to the pigs. I don't mean it in literally as being nasty. I mean it that nobody cares about what's going on around them in this community. I wish someone would help us solve the problem of unemployment and help give these people who are walking the street a job.
Truthfully, I feel sold out. I feel sold out. See, I look at it I'm doing a study from the perspective of the ex-offender. Unfortunately, a vast majority of people in the African American community are justice involved. And nowadays, that's an instrument of disenfranchisement and exclusion in education, employment, and yes, housing. You know, so, you know, there's going to be definitely some imbalance as far as the community goes. Who's able to move into a neighborhood, who's able to maintain the housing in the neighborhood, and who's able to hold on to a neighborhood once the city finds out it's more profitable to take over and put up subdivisions and partner with these new realtor developers and things coming in. They spent $120 million on that new courthouse. They're spending $71 million on the new police station, add the numbers up. That's almost 200 million. What did they give to help the African American community? I know they didn't come up with a cool 10 million since 2012 to the present to help us. That's what I know. That's what I want to say. Wake up, Black Durham, you're being sold out.
So I think affordable housing is a racial equity issue, and in the with the history of racism and racial oppression in the United States, it's impossible to separate racial issues from economic issues. They're just so intertwined in everything that happens in this country and in this city. The fact that that reurbanization and gentrification are happening in these low-income, predominantly Black and brown communities is a direct result of the fact that these communities have been disinvested in for decades. And so they are the communities, with the land that's like right close to downtown, right close to amenities, but with really unreasonably, artificially low land values because of the lack of investment by cities and communities in these areas. And so for me, it's important that people be able to stay in the communities where they live. It's not enough for us to just build affordable housing and have that housing be, way out east past Highway 98 or in North Durham where the land is cheaper. These people who have been living in these communities in Northeast Central Durham for decades and for generations deserve to have their communities remain a place where they can afford to live and work and and play and raise their kids. And I think that people have that right. They have the right to stay. And so I want to see us as a city be making sure that we are prioritizing neighborhood stabilization. So making sure that people are able to stay in their communities as opposed to just building housing wherever.
Large, what we call redlining, meaning that there were restrictions as to where banks and other financial lending agencies would lend money, and so those areas seen as high risk, in all likelihood, would not receive funds, or persons could not receive funds to sort of purchase or buy a home. And so as a result of that, you'll find that by 1940s, African Americans here in Durham claim a very significant share of the home ownership here in this county, in this city and county. And as a result of that, had really garnered a very strong reputation in terms of home ownership. And that included not just in the Hayti community, a footprint on Parrish Street, on Black Wall Street, Hickstown, Crest Street, the East End, the West End, of course, and Little Mexico, which is the confines of Roxborough and which used to be called Pine Street. So you start seeing these ideas of redevelopment. And so now the net result of that is that what were largely intact African American communities are now not as intact and as historical as they used to be.
Affordable housing is one of the top priorities of this city council and as a result of the administration. And we're working as hard as we can to try to bring on more affordable housing in the community. When I speak about affordable housing, I'm really speaking about developing housing of mixed incomes. Because what I don't want to see is that suddenly you develop housing and all the people in there are below median income. So we're looking for a mix where we have market rate tenants as well as below market rate tenants. And that's what you'll see over in Rolling Hills, which is now the lofts at South Point, where you have mixed income families living together. That's what you see over on Barnes Avenue, which is now Eastway Avenue, which again, you have a combination of mixed income persons living there. So we're talking about mixed income affordable housing with respect to the city playing a role in doing that.
Community really grows great, I think, when you marry concerns and issues of the people who are the residents.